Could you briefly introduce yourself and your role in short drama industry?
My name is Mauricio Ozaki. I'm a filmmaker, creative director of Loopy Films, where we create original short dramas and we also do localization. We've been doing mostly in English, and now we also been in talks to do create series in Portuguese and Spanish.
How did you first get involved in short dramas?
I first got involved when I got invited to finish the localization of a Chinese IP script that was, I think, from Short Max escaping as the CEO wife. And then it was pretty much kind of a rough translation. Me and the main actor, we got the script. We're trying to figure out. It was the first time that was more than a year and a half ago was the first time we were going through a vertical drama script in English, and it was like 1 page and a half, one episode, and it's so demanding because 1 page and a half, and you have so much information, so many things going on, props and actions and plot twists. Usually, for example, a normal script like 100 pages, I take an hour and a half to read, but with the vertical script to read it would take me way longer to go through all the details, understand. And I think because it was a kind of translation and the original Chinese IP, I think was around 200 episodes, and we just have 100. There was a lot of a plot hole. So we're trying to make sense of everything, adjust as much as we could the story. We received the script a week before the shooting. So it was like work in progress. And even on set, sometimes they're like, okay, this line doesn't make sense here. Let's adjust this. But anyway, the series was released. It was a big hit because it did well with the numbers. And after like a few weeks, I got a new script. And then since then, I think I never stopped.
How would you define short drama and what do you think is their essence?
I think short drama is modern version of soap operas. Uh, what I think the essence is always the human story. Is the romance, is the love triangles, is the betrayals, the revenge that are aspects of our nature that our brain is wired to react, to recognize, to empathize, to laugh, to cry. And I think because of our connection with as humans, it doesn't matter if it's speaking Chinese, if it's a love story in Chinese, in Korean, Japanese, if it's in English, in whatever language, we still can recognize that. And that's why moves and short dramas they can travel. And so it is a modernization, in my view, of the soap operas, but it's also connected to how the technology it is. Because nowadays we can watch on our phones, and we can swap, and the distribution system is way more like effective and fast. And I think this modernization of the soap operas with the distribution system that we have now through the platforms that made vertical dramas explode around the world.
So what's the essence?
Essence, I would say, is a mobile first version of soap opera. But the vertical dramas. What's the difference between films and vertical dramas? I think each medium was designed for their time. So, for example, movies were designed and still designed, to have a shared experience to watch on the big screen, because that's the medium we had back in the days. And I think it's still very powerful, very effective. I still love going to the theater. Then we have like the TV series or soap operas that are designed to watch on the television at home. So there's a lot of repetition in the information. You can be washing the dishes, cooking, and watching at the same time, listen to the conversation. It's still effective. It's like a radio. And I think the short dramas, they are designed for mobile first. They are short episodes, they are shot vertically, and they are just the right time. For example, you can be commuting, watching, and then stop and keep watching after the work. So it's the type of entertainment that's perfect or watching in the mobile phone.
What are some common script issues that you, as a director, often need to fix or adjust during production?
Like, for example, it depends. If it's a localization, there's a lot of culture. For example, let's say it's a localization of a Chinese IP script to US. There's a lot of a cultural elements that's not just about to translate. We have to rethink. For example, in China, there's a lot of scenes. The CEO has a lot of assistants, and they all bow to him. In US, no one is gonna be bowing to the CEO, right? So we have to recreate that scene to have the same effect, but that fits US culture. And that's, I think, one of the challenges when we're doing localization is to understand what this scene about is to show that this CEO is very powerful and he has a lot of employees underneath him that respect him. So maybe in Asia, they were going to show respect in one way and the power will be displayed in one way. But when you come to US culture, Western culture, there's other ways that we can display and show powerful. Maybe he has some bodyguards and he has a powerful car and his office looks in certain way and there are many women who likes him. So I think that's important to pay attention. And I think when we are doing the original script is to make sure that in the script that I work with my writers, we try to innovate as well. How can we still make the short dramas, the vertical dramas with the vertical trope, and sometimes avoid like excessive bullying or other elements that we think always being used too much? How can we create a character? It doesn't need to be the rich CEO wearing the suit all the time. How can we make something a little different?
So, as a director, what's the core element you always make sure to bring out from script to screen?
For me, casting is super important. Is to understand the character and to think, okay, who can play that character and bring it to life and understand. A lot of the dialogues, they're very silly sometimes, or they can be on the nose. So you need that type of actor. And that's something very important because some people think, oh, these productions are cheap, they're fast paced. And actually, it demands to have very, very skilled actors, very high quality actors that they can take that lines, they can make believable, and they can translate with emotion that type of scenes.
How do you create emotional resonance with the audience?
I think yeah, it starts with casting. We need the actor and the actress that they can understand the character, understand the text, and bring emotion because you cannot fake. I think people can is not something you can fully explain, but people can feel when you're watching a movie, when you're watching a vertical drama, always emotional. Oh, I believe in that guy, I believe in that character. I feel what he's feeling. And I think when we achieve that, the series can have a good viewership.
When you choosing an actor, what makes you decide this is the one? This is the one I'm looking for.
Usually, I'm always nowadays watching many dramas, and then whenever I see an actor I really like, I always add on Instagram, send a message, try to keep in touch, and then I start thinking, oh my God, I love that actor, love this, I would love to work with him or her. And then when I receive a script, I try to think, oh, which actor that I like could be ideal for this character. Then we do a tape, an audition. So I always like to take one scene of the script, send to a few actors, having them reading, and then I can see, and then sometimes different actors they were gonna interpret different versions of that character, and sometimes it's not which one is better or worse, but which one fits better that story, and that's how I try to choose.
But those are actors with proven records, right? You've seen their shows before.
Some yes, I work with actors that I have not seen any shows of them or they're new to the vertical dramas, and then we still did an audition. He will perform well on the vertical.
Hi, this is Maggie Han. Want to write short drama but feel like you can't because you are not a filmmaker. The truth is, short drama can be learned. And in China, where the short drama market makes over 7 billion US dollar a year, a lot of hits actually come from everyday people. In my course, Short Drama Writing 101, I will show you the method. One protagonist, one main task, one simple storyline. You can preview the lesson for free and start creating with us. Let's say a new actor wants to get into the short drama industry. From the director perspective, what would you suggest? How were he prepared?
Okay, so one thing that for me is really easy when I go to the Instagram of an actor, I love to see what he's done before, even if he haven't done vertical drama. But if he did a theater play, if he did a short film, if he did anything else, and there's scenes of him, solo scenes of him, and then I can play and watch, and I say, oh, this guy is a good actor. Let me see how he looks on the screen. There's so many things we can immediately see. That's the idea for me to go when I'm looking for an actor, I go to their social media and I can see some of his acting reel. Don't need to upload a lot, but if they have 2 or 3 videos of their acting skills, it can be a play. It doesn't need to be a big production. It doesn't need to be a vertical, but I need to see him acting for the camera. That's the most important because sometimes you're gonna go to their website or their portfolio or their Instagram, social media, and there's 1,000 of photos, and all the photos look good, but I need to see on the camera, on the moving image, how it looks.
For a new writer, if they want to get into this industry, what's your suggestion on that?
So I work with a few different writers when we do the regionals, and I think now there's a lot of platforms. There's a lot of new platforms. One suggestion is to write a spec, like a spec script, like for example, take a regional, and maybe they can write 10 episodes, 5 episodes, and maybe try to talk to the newest platforms. And I think platforms, they're always looking for writers who can work in a fast pacing, who can create lively characters, who can localize stories. Even with all the advances of AI, I don't believe AI will ever be able to write a script that resonates with us. So writing jobs will be there. I mean, or another suggestion is we've been talking about that there's a lot of platforms that they have a big collection of IPs from their web novel. If you take one of that web novel uh, and then do 10 episodes adaptation, send to the platform, what do you think? Is a way to connect. Another way, and I think that's essential as well, is to follow a bit what's going on in the community. Watch the Short Drama Alliance, watch the podcast, what's going on, because there is some skills, to write a vertical drama. It's not like to write a feature film or short film or documentary. So there are specific tropes and skills that you need to learn to write the short drama.
How do you control the pacing of short drama from a directing and post-production perspective?
So for me, directing starts on the casting. So from the casting moment, we have the tapes, we try to set the tone we want for that show. Then one thing I love to do before we start shooting is a full table reading with all the cast. Uh, and then we can go through all the script, all the scenes, we read the dialogue, we make the adjustments of the scenes. I have the time in that day of the table reading to make some adjustments with the cast because sometimes on set there are too many things going on. But on the day of the table reading, we can make many adjustments. So when we come to the set, they know what to expect from each line, from each scene, and then we can shoot smoothly. And then in the post-production, I usually follow from the start to the end of post-production. Sometimes we are just in the pacing of an episode. Sometimes we happen to combine 2 episodes in one to make a faster and stronger.
I watch some overseas platforms. Every episode it's about just 1 minute. But for Chinese short dramas, sometimes they were as long as 2 to 3 minutes per episode because we need the twists, the hooks, and everything. And then there was a cliffhanger. So I don't know why this. I haven't talked to the platform executives yet. I'm just very curious why they do that.
I'm not sure, but yes, you're absolutely right. Some of the platforms I've been working for in English, our episodes have been the ideal length have been 60 seconds, 1 minute. Uh, when I work with some of the Chinese platforms, yeah, the scripts can go as like the episodes can go around 2 minutes, 2.5. But in English, it's really rare to go 2 minutes. Maybe the first 2 or 3 episodes that they set up, they're a bit longer. But as the series go, they wanna like to keep around 1 minute. And we still have the cliffhangers, we still have everything. In the Chinese ones that I work, there are more repetitions. There are more things that happen. For example, she steals let's say a character steals a bag of someone and say, "Oh, that's not your bag." And then another person comes in the scene and say, "Oh no, I saw her in the bag." And then one more person comes. There are more repetitions that when we do the series in English, things are more straightforward. They might have some numbers that show that is more effective. That's why everyone is keeping around 60 seconds now.
In North America, most short dramas still CEO romance stories dominated the whole market. So, what other types of stories do you think could be explored and why?
I think one type of stories that do pretty well, we did one sports, we did one boxing, MMA, Fight for Love was a big hit in Viglo. And then after that, everyone's doing boxing now and MMA, fighting. There's so many that I've seen now every week. So, and the sports do pretty well. Like you have football, we have tennis, basketball, all types of sports. Now they're doing well. We did also one recently that's the army guy coming back to, and this type of army usually do well in US as well. Like, oh, the guy was in the army, was in some war abroad, and now he's back and he can use his skills. Like, there's a lot of series like that do well. Hidden identity, they do well. Like, oh, the guy it's a homeless. There's a lot of these stories are he's on the street and these guys, and then they find him, then he take a shower. He's the very handsome man. Now, I was listening to their podcast that some people are saying that, especially because it's Halloween now, and people are saying that horror verticals will gonna be maybe the next wave. They can do really well because usually horror films they have this quality of sometimes looking cheap and funny, and there's a lot of blood and people laugh and there's some so I think that's a potential as well to explore.
How do you see the future of short dramas?
I think there was a debate a few months ago or last year about, oh, is this a trend, is this gonna finish? I think by now, and we discussed about that, right? I think me and you, we believe and we know it's here to stay, right? It's kind of for me, it was never a doubt. I always from the get-go when I think first or second series and I see the audience, the reaction, I'm like, oh, this is definitely not a trend. It's gonna be here to stay unless we stop using mobile phone, unless there's something new that's not the mobile phone. So I think as for now, what we're gonna see in 2026 is expansion of new platforms in US because we've been talking about that, right? A lot of the platforms are still from Chinese mother companies, but I think in 2026 we're gonna see this expansion, of course, from platforms from US, from Europe, maybe Latin America. Now we have already in India, in different parts of the world, and we're gonna see more integration with Hollywood. I've seen like some platforms they want to do like some CSI style, some different types of shows they want to test what's possible to be done. So I think I would say it's looking good for 2026. There'll be, I think, a lot of originals, new players, new platforms. So I'm very optimistic for the future.